Featured reader S.M. Dotson. He recently published his very first book, Along the Graveyard Lane, The Demonization of Ghosts, Soul Matter Series, Book 1. Mr. Dotson, again, welcome to the show, and you'll read an excerpt from your first novel, and I'll just let you take it away from here.
Thanks, Jim. I have a question I like to ask before I give a reading from this first novel here, and just answer yes or no in the live chat, and I encourage our readers to also answer yes or no. Just a little survey. So here's my opening question. At any point in your life, were you ever told to never speak to a ghost because it was really a demon trying to trick you? Answer yes or no, and feel free to expound on your experience. Feel free, if you say yes, feel free to give some details. So here's the question. At any point in your life, were you ever told to never speak to a ghost because it was really a demon trying to trick you? So yes or no, feel free to explain. Yeah, that's basically the gist of the subtitle, The Demonization of Ghosts in this alternate world, in the multiverse, in this paranormal world. Ghosts are being demonized by established belief. So here we go. This is an excerpt from the beginning of chapter 2. The confused foreign spirit flailed about in 12-year-old Sachette Brune's body. Martin entered the slant-ceiling bedroom and sniffed with a twitch of his mustache. A scent like that left over from a lightning strike permeated the air. Goosebumps swelled in the tingle of invisible forces. Words deadened and suffocated light formed a tight sphere around its source. The usual symptoms of possession. She breathed like someone with a punctured lung. Sachette, the father Torben said. The child undulated her spine like a hypnotized snake and demanded, "That is not my name." She spoke in a high German dialect. "Oh dear," the mother Dolores said in nurturing tones. "Her gag has fallen off again." The girl strained against the bed sheets tied around her wrists and ankles. Torben placed both palms on her forehead and pressed her to the pillow. Sachette attempted to slither away, but her father's strong hands pinned her to the mattress. The parents ignored the words coming from Sachette's possessed throat. Delora replaced the cloth of the gag, wet with saliva. "The ritual will begin shortly," Martin bent to Delora's ear. "You may now exit the room." Once the parents departed, Martin spoke to the spirit within the possessed child. The ultimate violation of the Exorcist code. The possessed girl, Sachette, breathed heavily through her cloth gag. She struck Martin with a dubious sideward glance. "Well, hello, friend," said Martin as he removed the gag. "What's your name?" The possessed girl flinched at the question, mumbled, and finally said, "Where am I?" Her voice trembled as vapor bellowed from her mouth. The spirit inside Sachette spoke in a high German dialect, from the south. "No worries," Martin said in a calm, aloof voice. "You're stuck in someone else's body, but your discomfort won't tarry a moment past dawn." Martin took the small notebook from his pocket. "Might you tell me your name?" "My name?" The spirit seemed confused by the question, Sachette's eyes fixed in a hollow stare. The two sat in silence for a moment. "I'm Frida," the spirit said, as if she remembered after a great effort. "How did I get here?" "It happens, darling. Not sure how. I'm Martin, a doctor. What's your last name, Frida?" "Last name?" "Koenig," she said. "Can you help me, doctor?" "You'll be safe, Frida. I've done this before, and it always works out. Tell me a little bit about your family, my dear." Sachette's body calmed, less erratic breathing and fewer sudden movements. "Oh, let me think," the ghost of Frida Koenig said through the lips of the young girl. "Gilda, my youngest daughter, and I came to Petressa after Filbert died. Herman and Gaster died fighting for the Sun King before that. What was the last thing you remember? I went blind from the fever, but I can see again. Am I still sick, Doctor? You're no longer sick, Frida. You are at peace, waiting for the Lord to return. The only hiccup is that your soul woke early and is stuck in the body of a little girl named Sachette. Oh dear, will she be fine? Asked the ghost of Frida. Such a pretty name. Yes, she'll wake in the morning ready for her lessons, and Easter is this Sunday. That's nice, Frida said and sighed. My apologies for all the fuss. No need, replied Martin. It was an accident. Will I be in heaven soon? Frida's voice faded as Sachette's head gave its weight to the pillow. Before you know it, Frida, Martin said in hushed tones, and goodness will reign forever. A small tear swelled and fell across her temple. The ghost of Frida departed from Sachette. Light leapt into the room from the burning candle, and with it, a feeling of warmth returned. The exorcist wrote the name of the ghost in a few shorthand symbols, indicating the circumstances and outcome of the Suke therapy. Sachette snored with dawn still hours away. Martin snuffed the candle on her dresser and quietly exited the room. In the light of the kitchen, the exorcist emerged earlier than expected. The foreign spirit has departed, Martin said into the kitchen filled with grave faces. He did not say demon, but he also did not say ghost. One could believe whatever they wanted about the foreign entity. Martin ignored the exorcist code and instead sought to understand the basic temperament of the invasive spirit. Unlike most people, he did not fear ghosts or treat them as demonic. The demonization of ghosts is what it all amounts to, Martin said to Stern Smith, his advisor at Berlin Lutheran, an Englishman. The demonization of goats? Probably something to that. They have those devil eyes and horns, but harmless creatures, really. No, sorry, I caught a cold. Ghosts, the demonization of ghosts. Of what ghosts do you speak? Stern asked. Demons don't possess children, only ghosts of bodies nearby. That can't be your thesis if you want to graduate. And I wouldn't mention it to anyone. Ever, Stern said. Stick with your idea about goats. End of excerpt. Let's see. We've got some no's on the comments. Have you ever been told that you should never trust a ghost because it's really a demon trying to trick you? We have Alice and Dennis both say no. Janet Dotson Butler says, I don't know that I was told that, but I was freaked out by demons after watching The Exorcist at a young age. So that was a legendary thing in our family, is that when you were at an age enough to be terribly frightened of demons, you were expected to watch the masterpiece, The Exorcist. And so I don't know I don't remember how old were you, Janet? I know it might have been before I was born, actually. I can't remember what age I was. For a while, there was like an age where he's like, okay, when you turn, yada yada, we're gonna have you watch The Exorcist, and it really is one of my favorite movies. But it affected my sister deeply, and it affected me as well. I had a irrational fear of demons for a couple years, and I don't know, it was 13, 14. Just really was afraid of demonic possession. I really was. Mm-hmm. And Steve Wigginstein says no, he's never been told that. I never had anybody warn me about ghosts or demons. We'll have to ask Steve next time he reads. Ask him in what sort of environment he was raised in. I know he writes a lot about utopian societies, like rural utopian societies. Like a lot of people think in the 60s of these different isolated societies, but way before that in the United States, there were these little pockets of settlers who had a certain belief and a certain way of practicing things, We'll have to ask him. Because if you grew up in mid-Missouri and you were never warned about ghosts or demons, you must have been raised in an interesting environment. Yeah, Janet says she was 7 years old when she watched The Exorcist, which is a movie about demonic possession.
Yeah.
One of the most frightening horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
Jim?
Oh, yeah. Debbie, are you still there, by the way?
I am here.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if it was The Exorcist or if it was another movie, but I remember one that just scared the living daylights out of me, and it was pretty scary. And I think subsequently we lived in a house that had a large kitchen. Basically, the light switch was like in the center of the room, so you had to turn the light off, and you had to walk like 10-15 steps before you actually step out of the kitchen. So I was so afraid of the dark, I would try to run as fast as I could after I flicked the light switch to turn the light off, to try to run out of the kitchen. It's just like, I would never win. I can't outrun the speed of light, but it was, pretty, but anyway,
Yeah.
there are other stuff of that nature. But anyway, Debbie, let's bring you into the conversation. Any comment to what he read, or do you want to address his question about speaking to a ghost?
Well, I want to say that this isn't exactly demon possession, but I identify with your fright in the house that you lived in, because when I was little and influenced by the story Hansel and Gretel, there was a witch living in the closet in our house. And I did the same thing. I would run through that room if it was dark at night. I would run through it. And, I told my parents, I knew that, I think I had a dream maybe that had happened. And so I was sure that it was real. So I know that fear, that you're talking about there. I like to commend Steve on such good writing. I think that his action, his strong verbs were superb. That, at that one point he didn't just say that somebody looked at somebody. He said that she was struck with a glance or something like that. And that's so masterful, the way, he used the strong verbs in the piece. And I also was impressed with his imagery. Not just poets use imagery, but good prose writers do as well. And I especially was impressed with the snake imagery in this selection that he read. He mentioned, he used the verb slither to indicate some movement. And then in the dialogue, there was a lot of sibilant sounds, a lot of hissing S sounds that indicated the snake imagery. And I thought that was well done. And that's only a couple things. I mean, I thought it was great writing. I loved it. And I'm just so glad for Steve and so happy for him that he's published this book and sharing it here. And, man, I just wish him great fortune with it and other things that he might write. I'm just happy.
Do you have any advice for a first-time author?
He's already taken the advice that I would have given, which is the same advice that Dr. Jones gave me. Just do it. Just put it out there. It's not going to do any good sitting in a cardboard box in your closet. Just suck it up, get brave, and just throw it. Just get it out there and let people read it. And in most cases, I think you're glad that you do that. It's scary. It's scary to do that, I think, because it makes you so vulnerable. And that's not a comfortable feeling, but it's kind of like hanging your underwear out on the clothesline. We don't use clotheslines much anymore, but it's just something so private and so deep inside you, and it comes out to be displayed in public. And it takes some courage, to do that. And I commend Steve and you and others who do the same thing.
I just wish I could read the book on audiobook, because I'm a voracious reader and I'm constantly reading books. I'm reading every day, at least 4 or 5 hours a day I'm reading. And I'm just hoping that one day that his book and all his subsequent books will be available on audiobooks. so I can kind of hook up like an intravenous needle and just absorb it all. Yeah.
Thanks for your comments, Debbie. That's very encouraging. And like you say, I like that slogan, get brave. You know, you got to start somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
We got some more comments. We got Connie Cook. She says she's actually quite interested in spiritualism, and she's not afraid of ghosts or spirits, that she welcomes them. So, yeah, awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and Alice says she agrees with Connie. She's not afraid of spirits or ghosts. So that's cool. That's neat. So, Debbie, I like your story of the witch in the closet.
Yeah, that was probably even before it had to have been before I went to school, because I was still being read to, you know, so.
Oh, yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Oh, man. And the terror is so real. I remember.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.